Hello, podcast, my old friend. I've come to talk in you again. Because a vision we've been long waiting has come out and it deserves hating and slating from my friend Brian and I. So it's time for some remarks of snidness.
What a beautiful start. That's really set us off on the right foot, I feel.
I think so, because whenever I think Zack Snyder, I think of the sound of silence, and not just because of the gratuitous use in Watchmen, but also because of that Ben Affleck, the sad Ben Affleck meme, where he's like promoting Batman versus Superman, and he's just sitting there looking real depressed next to Henry Cavill, and the sound of silence is
Oh,
playing.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's some
That's
good
a
shit.
classic. Now, was he sad because it wasn't the Snyder? See, this is the
No,
problem
it
now,
was no,
is
because
it
this was
wasn't the context.
that was for Batman versus Superman, and he was sad
Oh,
because
right.
the
Okay,
the
yeah.
dude opposite them like asks a question, and he fucking credit to him as well, because he just goes, I know don't know if you've seen the reviews, but the reception is a bit
Oh,
mixed to say the least, right? And then Henry Cavill, like fucking height of professionalism, is just like, well, you see, the thing about that is, but then he just fades out and the sound of silence fades in and it just zooms in on Ben Affleck looking real sad. And then it finally gets to him and the music just cuts and he just looks up and goes, yeah, I agree.
So I guess this is episode 1 of what I don't know.
Whatever the fuck
Uh,
this is.
yeah, this is something we
Yeah,
It's been
man.
about nearly 2 years now since we podcasted.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy because I really enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, not
You
much
know?
has happened in that 2 years.
No, to be honest, I was thinking about this because I was like, oh, well, what can we talk about? If we're like, oh, what have you been up to? Fucking nothing. No one's been up to anything at
Uh,
all.
I grew a mullet.
You did
That's
grow a
about
mullet. Yeah, I gave myself two
as much
haircuts.
as I get.
I was bald at one point.
I
Since
also was bald at one point.
holy shit. Yeah.
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 A lot of hair stuff going on the last 2 years. It's been mostly hair.
Yeah.
Um, so how have you been, Dara?
Not so bad, man. Not so bad. Working away, playing some music. Got a new guitar. It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. How are you been, man?
I've been navigating the hellscape of college during COVID-19,
Yeah, it's a fucking bad time for it, isn't it? Do you know what I think is?
especially when your course is entirely practical
Yeah,
based.
but
It
also
involves you having to be in a small room with people.
I think it's absurd to be relying on people who can't use projectors to like teach an entire module from their fucking kitchen on their laptop, you know? Like I've been in like 45-minute lectures that the first quarter of it or the first third is just them trying to figure out how to fucking get the thing that's on their computer on the big thing behind them.
Oh yeah. That's
So
and you're like you've lectured in here 1,000 times,
yeah, man.
more
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. It's like a ridiculous amount of times that they have to like call a guy, you know, like get the IT person, and they have to like, it's just fucking ridiculous. So the idea of those people now trying to like set up their little laptops and connect with people from home, it's just
Oh
ridiculous.
yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah.
As speaking of connecting, we are currently recording this remotely. We've never recorded a podcast remotely even before 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So if it sounds weird, that's why.
Yeah.
It is currently 1:34 a.m.
It's so late, man, and I have to go to the dentist at 11 o'clock in the morning. So that's gonna be great crack. But I live here in my grandparents' house now, so I kind of had to wait until they nodded off, or until I can like assume that they've nodded off. You know. Do you know something as well? When you asked me how I am, what I really wanted to say is, well, over the last couple of days, I've been pretty shit because I've had to come home and watch some of the Snyder Cut every night,
Oh yeah,
and it's been like a
yeah.
real chore. It's been like genuine. It's been like another part of work that I have to do, and I'm not going to get paid for this. I just want to shoot the shit with my friend Brian. But in order to do that, I had to suffer through this fucking Jesus Christ. Is it like it's a little over 4 hours? Is it?
It's actually a little under 3 hours here in Europe, because of frame rate differences with our like standard formats. So in the USA, the standard frame rate is 24 frames per second. Here it's 25, and that makes it like different by a couple of minutes. So here it's actually a little bit shorter.
And then 4 hours.
Yeah, it's like 358 or something.
Really?
Like I mean, like very slightly shorter.
Holy shit! But either
It
way,
doesn't feel like
it
it. It feels like
it feels like it. Oh my god! There's a certain point. I know we're just kind of immediately. I kind of did a handbrake turn into it here, but just
yeah. What else are we gonna do? We're here to talk
yeah,
about
we're here to
Snyderverse.
talk about
Like
the fucking
Snyder cut. Like
yeah, or but also the Snyderverse as a whole, because
yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ, what a roller coaster it's been from the first time I saw Batman versus Superman opening night in Ireland. We went to a midnight screening, me and my family, because I love Batman so
Oh
much.
wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm fucking
that's fair.
walking out that night after first viewing, and like everyone's so excited and like talking about it in the car, and thinking to myself, I don't think that was very good. Am I the only person in the world who didn't think that was very good? What am I gonna do? And it was like, oh wait, no, no. And it's just been, oh my god, what a shit show! Jesus Christ.
um, I'm gonna be very honest. I have not seen Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
Uh,
good.
I thought about watching them in the run up to this, and
No, no,
I
no,
don't
no.
think I could take it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Especially if I have to watch the Snyderverse after. I have seen Justice League though. I watched it one morning while like really hungover,
That's
and it
right.
only
Yeah,
made it worse. It
yeah,
didn't work.
man. It's a fucking rough watch. It's a rough watch.
The one positive from the Snyder cut is that it gets rid of all of Joss Whedon's horrible parts.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
is
and there are a lot of horrible parts. Well, incidentally, what I was gonna say is that I can't
Mm,
decide. I'm struggling to decide if it's better or not than the actual Justice League that came out in the cinema, because I'm like, well, this is a thing. It's not two people's things like mashed together in a really obvious way. This is someone's
yeah.
vision, and I don't like it, but it's consistent. Like, every new part of it, I'm like, yep, this is what this is, and this is what it was supposed to be. Whereas the other thing, I'm
It's
like, but it's also so long. It's so long, and it's
needlessly
yeah.
long.
And look, let's
Like,
be real. There's so much absolute shite in there that did not need to
are we
be there
going
at
to
all.
just immediately disclaim spoilers
Oh
for all
yeah,
of this? Because, like,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'll put it in the like title and
Yeah,
everything.
if
Although, if you haven't watched it by now, good luck.
yeah, there are two reasons for me personally to do this podcast. One is to like I said, shoot the shit with my friend Brian, and two is to
Yeah.
potentially warn some close friends of mine, or just summarize it for them so they don't have to waste 4 hours of their lives on it. But I don't know as well, man. I feel like I know a lot of people who'd really love it.
Yeah, I think, look, overall, it's more cohesive than the Justice League we got, what, a year ago? 2 years ago? I don't
Mm.
even fucking
I think
remember.
it was like four. It was like 2017.
It's more cohesive than that because it's one director's vision.
Mm.
The problem with it is that that vision is not very good. So,
I think, but like, I don't know. I think that's kind of why I was able to accept it a little more than I could the other one, because
mm,
that's it really. Because I remember walking out of the other one and being like, those aren't the same fucking characters from the last movie I watched. You know, these are like totally different
yeah.
people. What
But
happened?
then, like, those characters in the last movie are not the same characters scene by scene.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
That is very true.
which,
And even in this, if I'm being honest, they're not really the same characters. Like Batman is definitely more like upbeat and lighthearted and stuff. In
mm,
this. And I always remember thinking that when the trailer for this version first came out, because it came out years ago, like years before the film came out, even. It came out at Comic Con. I remember watching it on my phone. And even that, I remember watching it and being like, this seems like a fucking different Batman. And it is. He's not as like intense, but he still loves shooting people. Oh boy,
he
does he
does.
love
Yeah,
shooting
he's always
people.
got a gun on him.
Batman, yeah. Oh my god. And look, and at least in this, it's like all parademons, but still, every time he's like driving in the Batmobile and just mowing them down with these two massive machine guns that he has mounted on the fucking bonnet, I'm like, this is the first time there's been parademons. Like, what are those guns usually for? You know?
I I think we should probably talk about some of the changes first of all, like from the original and like how we feel about them. So I mean, like the main one is not the main one, but like one of the most glaring ones is Steppenwolf.
Yeah, the
Um,
design thing. Yeah.
we'll talk about the aspect ratio as
Mm,
well in a bit. I have some stuff to say on that, but
right.
right now I want to talk about
Yeah.
Steppenwolf.
So I've seen everyone since the fucking trailer for this version came out. I've seen everyone saying that he looks better. I don't think he does. I think he just looks like he looks. His face looks a little more realized or something. But to me, he's still just a big fucking CGI man. Just because he's shiny now, doesn't make him more like. 'Cause, like, look at Cyborg. I think he looks like shit as well. But
Cyborg does look like shit. I actually like how Steppenwolf looks in this.
really, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a vast improvement over the original movie. He's not just a tall dude. He's more of got the shape of the parademons that like follow him, and he's got like the long arms and the kind of
Mm.
digigrade legs. And I like as well. It's right after the scene where they spoilers for all of this. Like this is
Yeah.
not a
Oh yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
We're
No, we're
dead
just
in on
we're
spoilers.
ripping into
You
this
are
thing.
about to get very spoiled
Yeah.
for a movie that came out 2 years ago. Um, they bring just when they bring Superman back to life and Steppenwolf shows up to get the fucking cube or the
Yeah.
box or whatever.
Yeah.
And in the sunlight, his shiny metal armor kind of
Mm.
has a chromatic kind of purple sheen to it
Mm.
when it hits the light a certain way, and I thought that looked like really good.
Right. Yeah.
And I liked it, but like he's still a big CGI man, and he's kind of just spiky CGI man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Like
That's it. And there's been so fucking many of them. I actually thought
yeah,
Darkseid looked pretty good, but one
yeah, I
thing
like Darkseid.
I will say is this is a problem I have with a lot of movies of this nature or just like sci-fi movies in general. I know these aren't quite sci-fi, but like
Hmm.
the idea, like, what do people do on Apocalypse? I don't know. It's just every time we get a little glimpse of it, it's just like it's just big hallways and fire and people in robes.
That actually, I want to stick with this for a minute
Okay.
because what do the people on Themyscira or however the fuck you say it do?
Yeah, well, that's actually one of my
Standing
notes.
around that
I have
box.
exactly. I had that note as well, and I genuinely I've wanted to do a thing where we just ran through our notes and what they are, and just compare how many
Mm.
of them are essentially the same thing. Because I think we could.
Yeah.
A lot of them probably would be, but we can do that
Well,
more organically. We don't. Have
I have about 4 pages of notes.
yeah, I just have a bunch of bullet points on my phone.
I kept a tally as well of shits and fucks. The thing is, there's only 2 shits and 3 fucks in the whole movie.
Wow, in the whole
Yep.
fucking 4 hours, we've had
Aquaman
more.
says shithole. Batman says shit, and there's a couple of fucks in there. I can't
Yeah.
really remember where the fucks were. It's a big blur, really. There's quite a few notes in here that are like blanked for 10 minutes. Oops. I'm sure I didn't miss much.
So I'll start. My first note was the exact same as what we already said. Why are all the Themyscirians just waiting patiently for this fucking death scream that Superman lets off? Because that's what calls everyone. By the way, his death.
Oh.
Really, do you remember that? The film opens with Superman dying for a really
Oh, you
long
mean the
time.
first 3 hours of the movie?
No, but it fucking like it. He screams, and that releases
Yeah.
like a fucking shockwave that spreads
I have a
out.
thing about that. Batman should spend the entire rest of the movie being like, "What? What are you saying?" If Superman screamed earlier, and now it just blew out my eardrums. I can't hear anything.
Superman screamed so loud that he woke a bunch of aliens in space. Now I can't hear a damn fucking thing.
It's just a whole 4 hours of everyone being like, "What? I can't. I don't know."
But genuinely, when the fucking death scream reaches Themyscira, they're like waiting around the box. So my first thought was like,
Mhm.
did the Atlanteans, because they're the first to receive the death scream for their fucking
Oh
magic
yeah.
box to start going ape shit. So did one of them like swim up to the island and be like, "There's a death scream coming! Stand around the magic box."
Well, doesn't sound travel faster through water? Isn't that a thing?
Is it?
So
Is it a
I think
thing?
that's a thing. I don't know. My most really pertinent note here, because it's a lot of like Batman's eardrum should be burst. Whatever. Just joking.
Yeah.
Um. Well, that was my thing actually, because they make a big point about the Flash having to eat a bunch of calories to like
Mm.
keep going, and I'm like, well, if they're going to do the realism thing there, Batman's eardrum should be burst.
But also,
Uh,
but with that, they only show him eating a bunch of stuff in one scene, and then the whole rest of
yeah,
the
I think
movie, he
that's
moves
so
real quick
stupid.
and doesn't eat anything. I don't know.
Release the deaf cut where everyone's deaf because Superman's scream deafened everyone. Uh,
Next, I've got a. Oh yeah, yeah. My next note is Eisenberg and Goop. So this,
Eisenberg and Goop.
yeah. So this fucking film like picks up like immediately at the end
Mm.
of Batman versus Superman. So like I said, like it opens with Superman
Yeah.
dying and everything that's happening at that point. But I haven't fucking seen that stupid film in a long time, and I did not realize that the last time we saw Jesse Eisenberg, or at least at that very moment that Superman died, he was standing in a bunch of goop.
Yeah,
Standing,
yeah. He's
and
just
he's just
waist deep.
because it's just like cutting through like what happened, and I think the death scream reached him too, and he like looked
Well,
up in his goop from his fucking goopy puddle and was like, "Oh, Superman just died." It's
that's my
just a
point
weird
though.
reintroduction to the character.
He creates the like whatever doomsday that was in Batman versus Superman
Mm.
in the goop with your
Yes,
man
so
Zod's like
yeah.
corpse.
So why
So
is he
like,
still in the
assumedly they
goop?
fight for a bit. Yeah, why is he just standing around in the goop? Like
Yeah,
he could leave.
because he definitely. I'm pretty sure. I don't know, man. I don't think the last time we see him is in the goop. No, the last time we
I
see him in that
can't
film,
imagine.
he's in
Couldn't tell
prison
you.
and Batman visits him. And he's like,
That's
Batman.
assumedly that movie ends after Superman's death and Justice League starts during Superman's
Yeah,
death.
I guess.
Like there's a little bit
But I
of
still don't
overlap.
see why he was in the goop. But whatever. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
you know, he shouldn't have been in the goop. I mean, he
He
could have even
should
been standing just up on the bank of the goop. Why
he
did he
should have
stay
been
in the goop?
he should have been standing on the bank above the goop in his jocks, like wringing out his trousers.
And then he looks up. He's like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it
you got him."
worked.
I pegged our first shit at 11 minutes and 21 seconds.
Oh wow, who said it? Was it Batman?
Yeah, it was Aquaman. Batman
Of
says,
course it was
"I've been working in
Aquaman.
Gotham for a while," and Aquaman says, "Oh, that shithole,"
Oh yeah, yeah.
which wasn't not. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit jarring off the bat. Which I'm sure, like they've done swearing before in comic books, but it
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, very rarely.
just feels needless. I don't know. We immediately get Jesus Cross imagery with the foreclosure sign on the Clark Kent house.
Oh wow,
On the Kent's house.
I didn't even notice that. During all
It's
those like
the way
long,
it yeah.
those like long pandering, kind of lingering shots, I paid the least attention in those points. You know.
Yeah, a lot of them were unnecessary.
Of course, it was.
And
They were
you know,
unnecessary. It's a fucking 4-hour film or 3:58 or whatever.
definitely not also that visually stimulating either. They're quite boring shots, a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
this movie, like I don't understand why people constantly call Zack Snyder a visionary director.
Look, what has he done aside from this and Watchmen? And he did 300. What is Sucker Punch? That's not a comic, is it?
No, that's just like
Pure
I don't know.
unadulterated Snyder.
Yeah, it's like some weird fetish thing.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know if you've seen it, but I
About
have.
lobotomized women or something. I'm not sure.
It's bad. It's weird and bad. But the thing about that is, like, people are always like, yeah, the composition of his shots, yada yada. A lot of his imagery is just comic book panels. Like, he takes iconic images from comic books and then and kind of makes them move, you know. But also sometimes It's just like a random shot from a comic that has like no relevance to what's going on in the story, and it's just like kind of like a nod and a wink or an homage, and that can be
Yeah.
all right if it's not, if you're not being beaten over the head with it every minute. And it's as
Mm.
far as I can gather with him, it's basically just shots from comics or recreations of them or homages or Jesus imagery, you know?
There's a lot of Jesus imagery
Yeah.
and like,
Or like a thing
man,
happening and then a song playing that's about that thing happening.
that was another one of my tallies,
Oh, was that
was
many
the
terrible song
music thing.
choices?
And I will give Zack Snyder absolute credit here. There were 3 uses of music in this, and I would say maybe one of them was bad. The other 2 were completely inoffensive.
Yeah, I can't even remember them.
The only one that I thought was bad was there was when Amy Adams goes up to Superman's grave at the start,
Oh
and there's
yeah,
some song going on
yeah.
that's like they said gods would live
Yes, I
forever, and like
remember that. I
it's like
remember
all right,
that.
man, cool.
Yeah, I do
But
remember
other
that.
than that, like there's one when Aquaman goes out into the sea. It's the where Iggy Thump
Mm.
used to be in the original, and I think that's a better scene because of the change.
Is this the
He
one
still litters,
yeah,
which
yeah,
yeah,
where he's like, yeah, where he's like going out into the storm.
the intro to Aquaman that happens 2 hours into the movie after Aquaman has already been introduced.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just in
That's
case
right.
you like forgot
Forgot
about
about
him,
Aquaman or what he's up to. Yeah,
because the first scene is Batman going to Aquaman, and then a woman sings about Aquaman for about I don't know 30 to
I
40 minutes.
I quite liked the Aquaman song. I liked the group of women singing in harmony in this fucking
I
foreign
liked it for
language.
the first 10 minutes, but then it really started
It
to
didn't
wear
go
on
on.
me.
It was probably like 2 minutes, I'd say,
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It
of
wasn't as long.
women. But first of all, the harmonies were beautiful, right?
Oh, yeah,
And it's like
It
a
was
foreign
good. Like,
language. But also, I just really liked the idea. I have to say, of like they're just this little fishing village, fucking back arse of nowhere, and
mm,
every, I don't know, so often every high tide apparently, this beautiful man, this big, huge, shredded dude with beautiful long hair and the most
he is a
incredible eyes
beautiful
you've
man.
ever seen, shows up and
Yeah,
feeds the entire town, and then he leaves in the morning. So of course there's this like
that's
cult of women who are just obsessed with him and sing a like goodbye gorgeous fishman song when he fucking dives back into the ocean.
when she picks up his jumper and takes a big old whiff of it.
Yeah.
I was really hoping she'd like wrinkle her nose because I
Yeah,
bet Aquaman's
just,
probably
it's
actually
gotta
pretty
be
stinky.
pretty fucking reeks.
He's like
while
he
we're
smells like balls probably because he's always in the sea. He's covered in salt water. He's
while
fucking.
we're on this, like, because we've gone away from the notes now, but just while we're on
I
this.
actually had a really important thing to say about this Aquaman village thing.
Oh yeah.
He brings them fish.
Yes.
Aren't like
Yeah,
isn't he like
yeah.
friends with
Actually,
fish?
yeah.
That's a bit fucked up.
It
Like
is a
what?
bit fucked up. It is a bit fucked up. Does he wait for them to
Yeah,
die
why
of
is he
natural causes?
yeah,
He's
like what
just
the fuck is
stocking
he
up on
like
dead fish. Yeah, it is a bit weird. All right. Do you know what else is a bit weird? Is the fact that here's two things that are weird about that scene. A, the fact that no, here's three. Right. So Batman, Batman, fucking rides most of the way on horseback, and
mm,
then gets off the horse and then goes fuck off horse and then walks the rest of the way to this tiny
yeah.
remote village. You But then the whole rest of the film is just like a display of the endless supply of vehicles that Batman has acquired. Just get in a plane.
But Dara, you see, when he takes off his mask and he takes off his like gear and shows his business card, that's when you realize, oh, this is Bruce Wayne.
But that's the thing.
Um,
See, this is all that was my other thing, was the business card thing,
yeah,
right? Because in the one that came out, the like the Wiedner cut, right? I
the
had took
Whedon
I
cut.
took I took issue with the fact that Aquaman is so like brazen about Bruce's identity. You know that like shot where he
Yes,
gets
yeah.
into the ocean and it's like super poorly composited. Like it just looks really weird. He's like bobbing in nothingness, and he's like,
Hmm.
You dress like a bat. You're crazy, Bruce Wayne. And I'm just like, it's a weird line of dialogue, and you're just shouting it to like a whole town full of people. And I thought that was stupid. But in this version, maybe in the other version too, but in this version, he fucking gives them his business card as well. He's as himself.
Yeah.
He shows up and he's like, "Hi, I'm Bruce Wayne. I'm looking for the Magic Fish Man because there's a big fucking threat coming to planet Earth, and I need to defend it because I'm Batman."
Yeah, he could have come in and been, I have business to attend to. That
Yeah, I run
he's
a,
one of
I
our
run,
shareholders.
yeah, I run a fishing corporation. And we think this guy
We
could be
think
a
we could
very
use his help.
valuable asset. I had a third thing about
I
this.
actually had a
Sorry, go on.
I had a big problem about that as well. About or not a big problem, but like just a minor nitpick,
Mm-hmm.
which is what a lot of this is going to be because this movie made me sit there for 4 hours and watch it. I'm going to nitpick it because
Yeah.
fuck you. Aquaman is described as half-blooded
Mm.
Atlantean, and that's why he can come out of the sea onto
Mm.
the land.
Mm.
Just like all of those full-blooded Atlanteans we saw in the flashback in the
Yeah.
fight against Doomsday.
Well, just on the Atlantean thing, right? Real quick, the bubble, the like air bubbles, where they step into air bubbles under the ocean to like talk to each other.
Oh, the we don't want to do CGI
Yeah,
hair
that's
bubbles.
so fucking
Yeah.
stupid. It looks ridiculous. Willem Dafoe looks terrible with this long hair, by the way. It looks
Yeah,
really
it doesn't suit him. He looks
bad.
Willem Dafoe looks pretty rough on most days.
He looks so
Um,
old and frail with the long hair. He looks like
and it's wet too. It's like it's
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's because it's wet. It
yeah.
doesn't help.
And it's like saltily wet. It's like ocean water wet, you know? Yeah. He looks like an old person in like a care home that like no one has looked after in a long time.
This is the Atlanteans are very uninteresting.
They are.
Every time they come up in these movies.
Yeah.
As a casual viewer of them, I have anytime it cuts to it, and especially fucking Amber Heard is just awful in this.
Yeah. Yeah, she said
What accent is she
Oh my
doing?
god, I have no idea.
Like,
I have no idea.
it's so bad.
That's just like the Hollywood posh person accent, where it's like you're kind of doing British, but not really. It's just like a
Yeah, because she switches into American every now and again
Yeah.
as well.
but like it's like mid sentence as well. Like it's just
Yeah. Oh yeah.
very
Yeah. Yeah.
selective vowels are pronounced with a British accent. It sounds ridiculous.
So yeah, most of where I kind of zoned out was when he gets the box from Atlanta or Atlantis, not Atlanta. That's a city in
Oh,
Georgia.
Yeah. All right. Here's another point. Right. Okay. So the whole Wonder Woman introduction scene with the dudes and the briefcases and the bomb. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all those school children, right? So first of all, I thought it was pretty fucking funny that her solution to these guys who are gonna blow up the fucking building is to throw the bomb up into the sky and let it explode in the
Hmm.
sky so that you don't blow up the building. And then when that
Yeah.
guy keeps shooting at everyone, you clang your magical bracelets together and you basically
And
blow up the fucking room and at least just blow the windows
yeah,
out of the
she
place.
vaporizes this man in front of a group of school children,
Yeah.
while also like I don't know. She probably killed some people down on the street. Like there was a lot of debris falling.
Yeah, and she totally killed all those dudes. Like all of those terrorists, I'm
Oh,
pretty
I
sure.
liked that. I mean, I like it was silly and it
Mm.
like extreme as fuck.
Yeah.
But like when she just punches that dude into the wall and he like splatters,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
like that was hilarious.
But then, right, when after the bomb has exploded and she's like throwing it up in the air, and the dude like switches his gun to automatic or whatever, and just starts like letting rip in the line of school
Mm,
children, right? And she runs
yeah.
along them all, deflecting
I know
every
she crab
single.
walks.
Yeah,
She
she
like
crab walks along, and at the speed of all of these bullets, deflecting every single one with her magical bracelets, right?
yeah.
And then, so first of all, that in itself, like that and Superman's supposed speed that they show off in this really kind of undermine the Flash a little. Like they're showing him up a bit. Like I've never known
Hmm.
Wonder Woman to be that fast, but whatever, right? So she deflects all the bullets, and then she blows your man the fuck up, like turns him into nothing, right? And then this little girl from the class behind her turns to her and goes,
Yes.
"Can I be like you someday?" And the music swells in this beautiful, insanely in your face feminist moment. And Wonder Woman looks down
Yeah.
at her and goes, "You can be anything you want to be." You're a fucking liar. There's no way
Yeah.
that girl is ever going to be able to deflect like an entire, what do they call them? Magazine of bullets with her fucking
Yeah. Yeah.
bracelets. You're giving that girl unrealistic expectations. She cannot be like you. There's an entire island of people like you, and you're stronger than all of them. That girl is never going to be like you.
I didn't. A lot of people took umbrage with the like you can be anything. I didn't really mind that. That was the one of the few times where one of the heroes felt like a hero in some regard. Like they were saving people. Here's another nitpick. This is one of Brian's nitpicks.
Right.
She lassos up the guy at the start, and then she says to him,
The lasso compels you to tell the truth.
"You don't have to tell him that. He's just going to tell the truth." Like
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
I get
And
that that's for
she
us.
basically does
Like I
that every
understand
time,
that,
though.
but
She basically does it every time. Like she
yeah,
did, but she does it to Superman later, and she's like, "The lasso
that's why
compels
here.
you," and then he's like, "No, it fucking doesn't," and he just pulls her, yanks her.
Here's my theory. It's that the lasso actually doesn't compel you to tell the truth, and she's just tricking people. Like if she wrapped you up with some like thing that like, and
And
she's
it
like,
starts glowing.
you just watched her beat someone to death like next to you,
Yeah.
and she's like, hey, this lasso makes you tell the fucking truth, and you're like, yeah, it's glowing or whatever, and if I don't tell the truth, she's gonna murder me. You'd probably just tell the truth,
Yeah,
like.
and she might just murder me anyway. So what? What have I got to lose? You know.
She loves to murder,
Yeah. Oh,
as
here's
does everyone in this movie.
Oh man, yeah, they're a murderous bunch. Yeah, yeah. Because even when right, we're jumping ahead now, but even when Superman comes back, he seemingly murders like at least a handful of just everyday police officers or like military people who just show
Oh
up.
yeah.
Anyway, hang on. I need to get back to one of these points because the point that you said that you started zoning out at was when he
Hmm.
shows up to take the fucking box or Steppenwolf. I remember all
Yeah,
the
that was in Atlanta, not in
in Themyscira.
Themyscira.
Well, for what it's worth, for the one
Themyscira.
in Themyscira, uh, I thought it was pretty funny that the Queen of Themyscira's big plan was for everyone else, all of her warriors, to lock themselves inside this big temple
Mm-hmm.
with the monster, while she fucks off with the box. So she just
Yeah.
locked them all in to their deaths, and in vain as well, because he fucking broke
Yeah.
out and came after her anyway. You know, like is she the fastest? She looked like she might have been the oldest. I don't know if
There
that's
was
the
a bit when
case.
she's running out of that hallway,
Mm.
and that hallway looks like fucking Tomb Raider on the PS1. The CGI like
Yeah,
composite
actually, yeah,
backgrounds in this
yeah.
are shocking. And I get
Mm.
like they didn't have that long to do it or whatever.
Mm.
That's fair enough, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
it just looked awful.
Yeah, yeah, they really did. I actually have another, uh, another little note here, which is when they light that torch, being like,
Hmm.
Wonder Woman will see the torch and she'll know what the crack is. And then
Yeah.
they talk to this Arrow and they're like, yo, we're lighting the torch, Arrow, but just in case, fucking fly to Wonder Woman and tell her what the crack is. And so they send this Arrow, right? And Wonder Woman gets it, and then she goes to the place where the thing is burning. I'm pretty sure. Look, I was kind of zoning in and out, but she goes to the place where the
Yeah.
oak is burning, and she lights a torch. And I swear to God, I rewinded it and watched it again like fucking 5 times. She lights a torch and she stands facing the camera, like just looking slightly off from the camera, wipes the torch across the screen for a second, and then it cuts to
Hmm.
a shot in like a ruin kind of thing,
Yeah, yeah.
as if she's like opened a secret door or a secret entrance or something, but we don't see any sign of one. We just see Wonder Woman fall because it looks like she's like it's like Super Mario at the start of a level. She just drops like
Yeah.
vertically, not even from like off screen, from like halfway up the screen, and there's no door, there's no hole in the wall where she's clearly gone out from. Just her perfectly vertically, just going. Floomf.
That scene, by the way, that when you think about it, doesn't make any sense because she goes into this ruin
Mm.
to hear a story that assumedly all Themyscirians know
Yeah, right.
because
Yeah,
like it's about apocalypse coming back. I'm sure she would have heard it at
yeah.
some point. I don't know, maybe it would have been pertinent to mention it. And it's like, why do you need her to go do that? I get like, oh, to get the spooky images for us and whatever. Why can't she just tell them?
But I think
Like,
also at that point, I feel like we fucking figured it out. How stupid does Zack Snyder think we are as an audience? And not just like obviously, I know the comics fairly well,
stupid
and
enough to watch a 4-hour movie.
you know them reasonably well. But even I feel like someone who's never watched or never read a comic book in their lives before would watch that film, and by the time Wonder Woman sees that shit, would be like, oh, there's a bad guy coming. There's a big alien bad guy coming.
Yeah.
He's coming through the box. The big
I think
huge.
anyone who's watched a superhero movie ever can reasonably assume that there's a big bad guy coming from space who wants to get
Or
the
just like
box because that's
a
every
sci-fi
movie.
blockbuster.
Another nitpick, Brian's nitpicks. She's working on a statue in the museum or wherever she works, and she's wearing like a really nice white dress
Mm.
while she works on this statue. And it's like, wouldn't you just wear like a
Dungarees.
dungarees
Yeah.
or some shit? Like you know, you're working on some shit. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I can see that, to be honest. Yeah, that sounds. Yeah. Oh yeah, just real quick. Section 1, there's a because it's all broken into sections. This thing, I think there's like 5 sections.
Parts,
Parts.
Dara,
All right,
because it's
sorry.
art. All right.
I don't know what all of the parts are called because I didn't pay attention to all of them. But the first part
Yes.
is called "Don't Count on It, Batman," and the first part, the only Batman scene that takes place, is that one we described where he visits a fishing village as Bruce Wayne and gets rejected.
Yeah.
That's the only.
Yeah. So don't count on it,
Yeah,
Batman.
don't count on that guy showing up, I guess. But what about all the other stuff that shows like Wonder Woman, figuring out what's happening and stuff? You can clearly count on her. It's just weird that there's an entire
Yeah.
like 40 minutes of this movie that's named after a guy who's in 10 minutes of that 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, these are little nitpicks, but we had to suffer through this shit. So
Yeah.
we
I'm
get to
gonna
complain
nitpick the
about
shit
whatever
out of
we
this.
want. Yeah. Oh, the
Um.
Steppenwolf
wait-
Skype call. You know those?
Oh yeah, I like those. I
You
like
know-
this weird stone.
Like
Like
Pinard.
it was very like the Krypton stuff in Man of Steel.
Yeah, but didn't like that in Man of Steel either. I just think it's weird. And also when they're like talking, like who talks like that? You know, it's all
Oh
just
yeah,
about like
that's yeah,
the decimation of the planet, and they shall know the wrath of the darkness. And it's like is there like again? It's just this idea of what do these people do aside from destroy? Nothing else.
well, yeah, that's they have no characterization other than bad villain.
Yeah, just
Like there
evil
really is
person.
no
Can you
characterization to them.
imagine Steppenwolf or Darkseid or Darkseid's like stooge that's always on the fucking pin art phone to Steppenwolf?
Oh
Can
yeah,
you imagine them
yeah.
like getting out of bed in the morning?
No, not at all.
No, they just stand around and talk about destroying stuff, and every now and then they grab an axe and they destroy some stuff.
Yeah, like do you think like Doomsday ever shows up on that big altar with all the people in front, and he's just like, I hadn't slept that well tonight. Like I just got a bit of a headache. Like
I'm feeling
just
pretty
gonna
run
take
down.
it easy today. You know.
If you guys want to
Are
go
there never
home
like he
early-
never calls up? He made like forms out of the stone, and he's like, oh well, Steppenwolf, how you doing? Like,
Yeah.
how have you been? It's
What
been
you
a-
up
you've been
to?
down there looking for the cubes there for a while.
Also, there was kind of a certain point where honestly, I started to feel a little bad for Steppenwolf because everyone
Yeah,
fucking
man.
everyone shits on him the entire film, like
He's just trying to
because-
impress his boss.
I know, but but from both ends, right? Because the Justice League, when they talk about Steppenwolf, they're like, "Oh, he's this horrible monster of mass destruction, and all he knows is fury and rage." And then it cuts to fucking Darkseid and Stooge, and they're like, "He's in a fucking spa. He's gonna fuck this up." I know it. Everyone hates Steppenwolf. Yeah, and he's trying his best, and like when he finds the anti-life equation on Earth, he's like so
Yeah.
excited to tell them. He's like, "I found it," and they're like, "I don't think you're able for this."
Yeah. He's like, I found it. And they're like, you're still a fucking idiot, though. Like, we still don't like you.
We're probably going to send someone else.
I like when he swings all those horses around. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. I don't know why it's so funny to see a horse get like yeeted across the fucking
One of my
like field.
favorite scenes in the movie, and this got like a genuine laugh out loud from me, right? Was when he goes to like get the box, and Cyborg's dad tries to destroy the box, and he like gets into that like chamber thing with it, and he presses this button, and Cyborg is like, or not Cyborg, Steppenwolf is making his way through the lab to get at the box. Cyborg's dad is in this like containment unit about to turn on this thing, and he's looking out as Steppenwolf is coming down the hall, and he's looking out through a double glass door, and Steppenwolf is like fucking hammering through it with his axe. He's like breaking it to shit, and it's just like a double door. It's just so fucking funny. It looks so funny. This big hulking monster man from another world being like, "I don't understand this," just like battering away at it. We could just like push it open. It's just fucking great.
So how did you speaking of Steppenwolf and all that stuff? Actually, speaking of Steppenwolf, I while watching this movie and taking my notes, realized that I had forgotten Steppenwolf's name because he's that forgettable as a villain. In the original, anyway. I mean, he's maybe a little bit more rememberable here.
Yeah, he's the
Rememberable, you know
underdog
what I
in
mean?
this one.
It's all about Steppenwolf, man. That's what this podcast is. Um, yeah, so I'm just gonna rattle through what I wrote down here. So my first thing was Wolfenhammer or whatever looks better. That was my first like
Wolfenhammer.
Wolfenhammer was my. I was kind
That's
of like, what's
almost
he fucking
certainly a
called?
band, right? Wolfenhammer.
I have no idea. I knew it was Wolf something. That's and then I said Boomhauer, but I know that's a character from King of the Hill. That was a joke.
I didn't know that.
A joke note. Stormwolf was one of my
Stormwolf.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein. That's my favorite.
Beowulf. And then I just wrote it's Wolf something. And I was right.
Something
it's,
Wolf.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
It's something Wolf.
Something Wolf.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Flash, right?
Yeah, yeah. So in the scene where he appears, right, where like we're introduced to him, he's like applying for a job or whatever, and this woman is there, and he's like flirting with the woman or something. But the woman then goes out, and she gets in her car, and she's trying to start her car, and the car won't start, and there's like a truck hurtling towards her, and so Flash has to use his powers and save her, right? And it's like this big romantic moment or whatever. But when the woman is
hang
in her
on
car,
now. You've not done this justice because she tries to start her car for what can only be described as an excruciating amount of time while we see this truck barrel down the road. It's about I'd say about 20 minutes of just shots of her starting the car and this truck driving down the road, and you're like, oh, well, I mean, 10 seconds into it, you're like, oh, I see. She's gonna almost get hit by the truck and the Flash is gonna stop it. But then it just keeps fucking going.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. But while she's trying to get the car to start, and I've written this line of dialogue in quotation marks, she says, "Come on, I'm supposed to meet friends now." That's what she says to her car when she's trying to get this car to start. Who the fuck? Who talks
like that?
Who talks like that to an inanimate object? Who says, "Come on, car, I'm supposed to meet friends now"? No, you'd be like, "Come on, you fucking piece. Come on, fucking, come on." You know, you just be like muttering to yourself. You're not talking to the car, and not even you don't talk to anything or anyone like that. That's just not a sentence someone says. Anyway, that annoyed me.
Yeah.
It's little things like that. That's like, oh, this
more
world...
characters in movies need to just mutter like "fuck, god damn it" to them.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's like this whole world that he's built, none of it feels real. There's a minute. One of my next notes is that there's a point where Cyborg and Wonder Woman meet, and Cyborg causes like the entire street to have a blackout, and they're just standing on this like street with like all these homes and all these street lamps outside, and all the lights are on in the buildings, and then Cyborg walks up to her, and all the lights go off in the buildings,
Hmm.
right? And when that happens, you don't hear a single person go, "Ah, fuck, God, fucking damn it," you know. No one
Yeah,
seems
yeah.
annoyed on this busy street that's like wall to wall houses, and everyone was
Yeah, yeah.
using the power. No one is heard being like reacting to the fact that they just lost power. Like this world feels empty aside from the stuff that's happening on screen right
That's
now.
so funny because one of my notes is word for word, everything feels so empty. And that was actually, I watched the second half of this movie with Ali, who does
Mm.
not care for superhero thing. She recently watched WandaVision. It was her first
Oh yeah,
superhero foray. She hated it.
yeah. It
She
wasn't
said, "Why would
wasn't
they
great.
pretend that it was going to be something interesting and then make it a shitty superhero movie at the end?" Um,
Yeah.
so she was like, "Everything looks really empty." That was like one of the few times she looked up from her phone. Um,
But it
and
does.
I agree
Yeah.
because that's the same street all of those
Mm.
scenes take place on. It's
Yes.
the same
Yes.
set.
And there's an
Uh, there's
yeah.
there's a scene where I think it's Amy Adams comes out of the coffee shop, and
Mm.
that's the same like storefront that the Flash is in
Yeah.
during that crash scene. Everything looks the same,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's no people. It's just like empty as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Exactly. There's like the big scene where they're like underground and they're fighting as a team for the first time and they're fighting Steppenwolf. And even in the big climactic scene at the end when they're fighting Steppenwolf, like as soon as one of them, like the camera starts focusing on one of them, like another one of them like might zoom past the camera, but then in the background you never see a trace of them. They just kind of disappear into like the smoke and nothingness. And it's like, well,
Mm.
what are they doing right now? Where are they? Presumably swatting away these fucking demons, but why can't I even see like a tiny little shadow of that happening or something? It's just as soon as they're not in the shot, these characters stop existing. You know,
Yeah,
it just
it's
feels it feels like a movie. You're watching, and you're like, oh, this is a movie. This is such a movie right now. You know?
yeah. It doesn't help that like the bad compositing on most scenes
Yeah,
like really makes it feel like a movie. And I mean, like that's bullshit because like it is a movie. Who
yeah,
like,
but
but you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's we're past where this movie is in terms of like putting a person into a CGI like room.
yeah,
You can make it look better than that, and with the money that they've assumedly pumped into these movies,
yeah, man, yeah. They spent so much money on Justice League. I mean, like they
and
had
like
to, you know.
that's another thing is that like when I'm saying this, a lot of this was filmed for the original Justice League. I think there's only two shots with actors in it.
Like that they're in the same place at the same
Two
time.
new shots, two new shots that Joss Whedon, that Zack Snyder filmed
Right? Is
for
it one of
this.
them the Jared Leto bit?
I think so,
Surely, right? It would have to be.
but there are 2,000 special effects shots that he
Jesus,
filmed for this.
fuck.
So a lot of this film is just
It's just
composite
CGI.
effects,
Yeah,
CGI, and it looks awful. Like
yeah,
it doesn't look good.
yeah. And some of those moments where it does look a little real for a second, or like there's some of the most accessible parts of it. There's one bit where the Flash and Aquaman, they're like infiltrating. They're trying to get Superman's body back to like bring him back from the dead, and they have to go into the ship or
Yeah.
whatever. Or no, they're doing something. They have to break into some base. Oh, they have to get the box, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like breaking in to get the mother box, and Flash is dressed as like in this like military uniform, and he has two hats, and he's like sitting in this truck, and they're like on the side of the road, and he's talking to Aquaman, and he's like, "What do you think? Option A?" And he puts on the hat,
Hmm.
and Arthur's like, "Definitely not A." And he goes, "Okay, option B." And he puts on the hat, and he goes, "Let me see A again." And it's like
Yeah.
that's a funny bit. This is a funny little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Why
these
don't the characters
actors,
talk to each other more?
yeah, these
Like,
actors can be quite likable in these parts. I think this is the best Batman Ben Affleck has given.
hmm. Yeah, yeah. I agree.
His best performance as Batman. and I feel for him because it's in this fucking awful movie. You know?
Yeah, that's one of my notes. I said, hey, all of these actors would be really good in a Justice League movie. Like they'd all do really well as those characters.
Yeah, like there are
It's
moments
not
where
this movie, but
they have
a
good
different one.
chemistry. Like the Flash in particular, I do find to be pretty fucking annoying.
Yeah, my first note about the Flash is fuck off, Flash, you're a
Mm.
loser.
He is
And
though.
then my second one was I hope Batman hits him with the Batarang this time around.
But even in this, I do think the Flash had a few more redeeming moments, you know, than in the other thing, in the other one where he's just
Mm,
supposed to be comic relief, but none of the shit lands at all. Whereas at least in
yeah,
this, he had a few moments like there's that bit at the end where he's supposed to be running ridiculously fast for this like
yeah,
fucking box to work or for Cyborg to be able to do a thing. I never pay attention to their plans, right? But
yeah,
he gets clipped by something, and his like flesh is like seared, and he's like
yeah,
putting all of his speed energy into like healing himself so that he can keep going, and it's like a
yeah.
pretty good moment. And like Batman's talking to him on the comms, being like, "You all right? You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine, fine." You know, and it's like, yeah, there are moments. Each character, I think, has at least a moment in this where I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, you could have done more with this. If
The Flash, bringing up this with the Flash, it brings me into one of my major problems with this movie.
right,
Is Zack Snyder does not, for someone who is such a, and I'm using really, really big air quotes here, a visual director who likes his symbolic shots and his whatever, he actually does not seem to know the term show, don't tell,
no,
because
yeah,
literally everything in this movie is told to you in dialogue
mm,
and in the most ham-fisted way possible. There's a scene where the Flash is talking to his dad in jail,
mm.
and his dad's like, "Well," he's like, "I'm finally getting that law degree," and your dad's like, "Why are you getting that law degree?" And he said, "Oh, me, the guy with the dad who's in prison for killing his wife, which he didn't do." And it's like,
Yeah,
ah, cool. If ever there was a character that you could have given a flashback,
yeah,
it would have been that guy because
yeah, yeah. And even I don't know, like
you spent enough time on other shit. Like,
you and your father have presumably spent enough time like staring at each other through this fucking glass that you don't need to refer specifically to
mm,
like the fact that he supposedly killed his wife but didn't actually do it. He
it doesn't
knows.
make sense
You
that the
guys
character would
wouldn't,
say that.
yeah, you
Like,
wouldn't waste all that breath describing this horrible traumatic thing that both of you experienced that is still ongoing. He fucking clearly knows. He's the one in prison, you know? Don't rub it in his face, Barry. Jesus Christ.
yeah. Yeah, it's just like the characters talk like they need to get plot points
Yeah.
across.
They talk like
Plot
it's
points should happen and characters talk to each other around them.
they
Like,
talk like it's the first draft of a script.
yeah, or they talk like it was no drafts of this script and they just said, "Hey, your dad's in prison. Just say that."
Mm, yeah.
Like, it's really bad, and they do it like like even at the end when he's running real fast and turning back time or whatever, and he's like, "Dad, I just want you to know, blah blah blah
Right.
blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah," and you're like, "All right, man,
I was
fucking."
just flicking through my notes, and that is my last note, which is the Flash running faster than light was cool until it wasn't. Because
Yeah.
the effect, it's probably the best visual part of the film.
Yeah, it looks
Because
really good.
he's running through like just like colors and swirls and like nothingness. And as his feet hit the ground, the ground forms around him because he's running faster than light, and it looks
Mm,
amazing and it's pretty cool and everything is like reversing behind him, or around him. But then it's just ruined by the fact that he's shiting on to his dad.
yeah.
Your dad can't hear you. You're running faster than the speed of light, and he's not even here. Why are you talking to your dad? You know,
Yeah,
you should be
you can
focusing
I
on
feel
what you're
like you
doing.
could do that visually
Yeah,
rather like it's lazy to just
yeah,
have him be like, "This is how I'm feeling right now."
yeah. And on that topic as well, when he's just running laps around the place and he's supposed to be creating some kind of current, right? That in
Mm.
itself is pretty fucking stupid because he's like talking to them on the comms. Shouldn't it just be like a squeak to them? How is he running that fast but talking so slow that they can hear him?
Well, I think I'll give them that one. I'll give
Really?
them that one. I
I
think
don't
that
know,
one's
man.
okay. Yeah,
I don't know. It
it's the
really
Flash.
bothered me.
I won't give them that the Flash's lightning is blue. That's stupid. That really bothers me
Yeah, look,
more than it should. I think.
other than that 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 running faster than light thing that I mentioned, his super speed is just not impressive at all. At all. It's like the
Well, because
Quicksilver
he's a
one, but
bumbling
worse.
fucking idiot who trips over shit
Well,
and
that, but like
runs like a
even
jackass,
that, I can understand that they're like,
which
well,
they
he's
did
young,
eliminate a
so
lot of.
yeah, he doesn't run quite as ridiculously. It's not quite as Phoebe from Friends, but it's still like I don't know, and I can kind of get behind the idea that he's young, and so he's like not super experienced with it yet, so he makes mistakes and stuff, and like does stupid shit like tripping up, but there's certain points where I'm like, how could you have made that mistake? How can everything be going so
Mm,
slowly for you and you still manage to fuck that up? You're a fucking idiot.
yeah,
Like sometimes it goes beyond him being young and inexperienced, and it's just like, well, that was stupid. You did a stupid
that's
thing.
another one I had was in the scene where they're saving the scientists, and it's kind of the first time you see all the s- bits of the Justice League together without
Mm.
Aquaman. Of course, he shows up later, but there's a bit where Flash like brings everyone outside, and then there's an explosion above them, and all these rocks start falling, and he like slows down time and like moves them all, but you
Mm.
see it in real time, and then he stops and looks up, and oh no, there's another rock that he missed. Wasn't everything like stopped for him? How could he possibly
Yeah.
have missed
Yeah,
that last
exactly. And
rock?
even at that, right? I'm glad you brought this up because I would have forgotten otherwise. In that scene where they're like, you get everybody out, and he's like, all right. And what he essentially does is he chaperones them as they all walk up the stairs. You could just you
Yeah,
we
yeah,
saw you
he's
grab a
just
woman
running between
earlier,
them.
and yeah, just running up and down and stopping at each one, being like, "You all right?" And like some of them, he like gets them and goes, "Fucking hurry up!" Like he's like
Yeah, he's
screaming
like,
at
come on,
them,
hurry up,
and
and
I'm like,
you could,
"You bring them! We've seen you move
yeah,
people. You moved that woman out of the fucking car and like saved her life. So it's not like you can't move people." Because sometimes that's like a thing where they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
the Flash can move that fast, but he can't just bring you." Because you're not
yeah.
able for it. But we already know he can. So why is he just
Yeah, he did it with that. Yeah,
because he doesn't want to fuck these people? Is that what it is? Because he wanted to fuck that woman. Like I
yeah.
think that's what it is. That's what I'm led to believe.
I'm glad they got rid of the brunch line. I
Yeah,
hate
it was.
that.
Oh, it was fucking terrible. It was so
Was
bad.
one of the worst things. Man,
Oh,
we are only at fucking part 2 still.
I know.
Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
We need to mosey on
Yeah,
here
yeah. I
cuz
knew we'd
I
have a
hate
lot to say
this.
about this, but Jesus Christ.
I said a lot of this looks like a fake movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of
Like
course. But we've kind of already touched on that. But what a big part of it that looks fake, and we can lead into that because this is an important section, I think, is Superman coming back to life. Right. That whole bit.
mm, I still like that bit. I think it still holds up.
Yeah. So
I like when Superman fights the Justice League. I
yeah,
think
I
it's
think it was
a
actually.
well
I
done
think the
bit.
fight was better in this, and I even think that the him coming back to life is better because they take a bit
Mm,
more time to explain it. You know, and give it like a bit more of a loose explanation. Although there is a bit in it where they're like trying to figure out the logistics, and they're all standing around in the ship, and the Flash goes something along the lines of, or no, Cyborg is like access to the ship, and he's like talking to the ship or something, and he says something to the line to the effect of, the fucking power is out in the ship, and so
yeah.
I can't connect to the thing, and f- Aquaman goes, English. It's like, oh, that wasn't
Yeah,
that
yeah.
fucking complicated. Where he just said, can we stop the English thing? English, please. Fucking English,
English
Doc.
Poindexter.
Yeah, enough of that.
And
Enough of that.
put it in a way I can understand, a nerd.
Yeah, come on. And Aquaman is not that stupid. Like, what Cyborg said was not that complicated. It just makes Aquaman seem a
No,
bit
yeah.
thicker, you know?
Well, he is a bit. He's just a lad. Like
But he
he's
also
drinking
Aquaman.
beers and he's
They make Aquaman out to
smashing
be
bottles.
pretty skeptical as well, and I kind of
Mm.
appreciate that. You know, he's like,
Yeah, Aquaman listens to Joe Rogan for sure when he's swimming around. He's
But just like when they're like, we need to bring Superman back to the dead, he's like, do we? I don't know. I don't know, man. And then shit doesn't go
Yeah, and
well
then he's
immediately.
like,
And he's pretty fucking validated then, you know?
yeah, and when Superman shows up, he's like freaking out, and
And
rightfully so,
yeah.
because Superman's just standing there looking at them.
Right. So I do, even though I do think that the Superman coming back to life thing is better. Here's a few points that I have that really bothered me about it.
Mm-hmm.
First was the English thing. Secondly, is when fucking when when Cyborg overrides the ship and tells it to do everything, and Flash runs in real fast and touches the box, and the
Mm.
box fucking blows up out of the sky, and like it's about to blow up, and Victor knows, right? Victor shouts, "Get down!" And nobody ducks, nobody moves, and nothing happens to any of them. It's just like a totally unnecessary get down. Nobody had to get down, and nobody does.
Well, that's his character arc. He's always trying to get people to move out of the way of things, and they just won't do it. He's the heart of the movie, Dara.
He just wants to move people around. Right. So then another nitpick about this scene. This one's a pretty fucking big one, I think, is that the reason that Superman turns bad is because he's like looking around at the Justice League and everything, basically being like,
Mm.
I thought I was fucking dead. What's going on right now? Right? He's looking around.
Well, doesn't he have no memories? I thought that was a thing.
I think, yeah, see, supposedly, right? But
Yeah,
But even at that, right? You'd think if he has no memories, how does he know to like shoot lasers from his eyes and shit like that? But
it's a
leaving
good
that
point.
aside for a second,
Yeah.
right? He's like looking around and he's kind of skeptical. He's like looking around and he doesn't know what to think. And then everyone's like looking at him and he's like scanning everyone. And then Cyborg's computer brain, his like
Hmm.
just like automatically forms a gun and starts like shooting at Superman or trying to, right? And
Yeah.
that's what ultimately sets Superman off and makes him turn against
Yeah.
everyone. But just like 2 minutes ago, Cyborg overrode an entire computer that was telling him not to do something, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna fucking do it anyway," because the computer was like, "No, don't do the mother box thing. Don't bring
Oh
Superman back to
yeah.
life. That's not a good idea." And he went, "I disagree. I'm gonna do it." But now
Yeah,
the
that's
computer is
inconsistent.
like, "You
Yeah.
should shoot at Superman," and he's like, "I can't fucking fight it. I'm gonna shoot Superman." That's
See,
bollocks.
because I originally liked that because I like the fact that it's not Cyborg, it's Superman is so menacing when he's not like, because the Superman that we know before that is Clark Kent, and he's like, he's putting on that like, I'm a good Superman man or whatever, or at least that's what he usually is.
Yeah.
In these movies, it's a
Or a
little bit more
Poindexter.
gray area. But then in when like he doesn't have those memories and he's just standing there, he's so menacing that he just sets off that defense computer immediately because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy could murder everyone on the planet like
Yeah.
it was nothing.
Yeah. See, I like, yeah,
Um,
like you. I do kind of
but
like
yeah,
it.
the fact that he fights it earlier makes that entirely bullshit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So that's pretty fucking annoying. So sorry to have ruined that for you, right? Then while the super people, the Justice League, are fighting Superman
mm,
and getting on okay, right? They're not necessarily winning the fight, but they're not dead, right? They're just kind of hammering away at him,
yeah,
taking turns, right? And then the military starts shooting at Superman, presumably to be like, "Hey, you leave those super powered people alone. Come fucking murder us instead."
yeah,
Like, you already know. Everyone knows you can't shoot him. Everyone knows. People have known for years. He just flew out of the fucking alien ship he arrived from Earth in and
yeah,
landed on the fucking pavement. And you're like, shoot him! You know not to shoot him! You tried shooting
yeah.
him! You know it doesn't work! Let the fucking woman with the big sword handle it. She seems to be getting on okay. They had that little headbutt off, which I quite liked,
Yeah,
to be
even
honest.
Batman, he did a pretty good job the first time. Like,
He did do a pretty good job the first time. Yeah,
yeah,
leave it to the
and he's
people.
essentially just a guy.
Yeah, just a richer guy than you, right? But then, my next point is just Superman as a public menace, but that's already common knowledge. But
Mm.
then,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
his Superman starts fucking firing his like heat vision at Batman for a solid 5 seconds at least. How fucking
Yeah.
strong is Batman's armor supposed to be? He's just in like his regular bat costume.
Well, it burns it off, doesn't it? He's got to
It
like pull
it
off
it
the.
burns off his gauntlet. And
Yeah.
earlier in the film, Alfred and Bruce are like discussing how he's making a new gauntlet that can withstand
Mm.
the laser the heat vision from Superman, and then we
Yeah.
see him deflect the heat vision with the gauntlet, and it's like, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
This fucking Chekhov's gauntlet, the
Yeah.
heat
Yeah. Yeah.
ray invincible gauntlet. Then he takes it off, he throws it away, and then Superman just starts fucking lasering him in the chest, and he does that for a few seconds,
Yeah.
and that's just fine until he gets like fucking hit away. Or no, Lois runs out and fucking doxes Superman as well. Everyone's getting
Yeah.
doxed in this movie.
Well, yeah. I
Identities are
was going to
nothing
make
to
a
these
reference to
people.
Snyder fans, but uh, um, yeah, I mean, like the only thing with that is that I just think Superman turning his head to look at the Flash is the best Superman moment in any Superman movie
It is pretty good.
so far. I
It is
love
pretty
that
good.
so much.
It's
I'm a huge Superman's my guy. Like I used to be a Batman guy, but I'm more of a Superman guy now.
yeah.
And I think that's the most Superman's ever been in
Mm-hmm,
terms of just like an example of his power or whatever. Like I don't know.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think it's done really well. I
It
just think it's
is
a really
done
good
really
scene.
well. It's a great scene, right?
I have a
But
lot of nitpicks around the resurrection of Superman though.
all right. Well, let me just round it off because my
Okay,
ending
yeah, yeah.
point to that whole bit uh, is that the whole fight with Superman ends when Lois appears and she's like,
Hmm.
Clark, and then they hug, and then she's like, let's just fuck off, and then they
Yeah.
just fuck off, which is Superman's classic move in these movies. Because you haven't seen Batman versus Superman, Brian, but in Batman versus Superman, Superman goes to court, right? And
Yeah.
he doesn't notice that the dude has a lead lined wheelchair, and inside the wheelchair is a bomb. And the dude
Oh yeah,
blows up
yeah,
the
yeah.
courthouse. Everyone else in the courthouse dies, and there's a scene of Superman standing in the flames, looking sad. And then he just shoots into the sky and fucks off. Just ignores all of the responsibility of the mess that he's just
Yeah.
created, and he just does the exact same thing in this movie. The most consistent
Well, look,
part of Superman's character, as far as I can gather, in this characterization, is being like, oh, fuck this, right after he's caused like a bunch of shit to go wrong.
yeah, man, Superman has more important things to do than save people. Like come on. There's stuff going on in these superhero movies. Uh,
He has to go bang Lois Lane.
he
Anyway,
has to go fucking say fuck and snap necks.
so what are your Resurrection of Superman nitpicks?
Oh yeah, I have some good ones. All right. So they're digging up Superman's body. Flash says to Cyborg, "Hey, I could do this in like a nanosecond." And he says, "You could, but like you're not on a like serious time crunch. There's a dude who could show up at any moment to
Yeah.
like fuck everyone's shit up.
Yeah, you're
Like,
right. They don't even acknowledge.
yeah,
They don't provide a reason as to why they shouldn't. They just acknowledge
yeah.
that he could. They're like, yes.
Like, is it a respect thing? But it's bullshit. Like, he should have said, "You should." You like, get this done.
Yeah.
Also, when they're loading the coffin onto the back of the truck, why do they need a flatbed? At least 3 of them have super strength. Like they could just lift the fucking coffin. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you could say maybe Superman's body is really heavy or something. I don't know, but like
I don't
I
know,
don't think it
man.
is.
Wonder Woman seems
Because
pretty fucking strong, like comparatively.
Wonder Woman is ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
She's
And also, he got
yeah.
just like carried by like a group of regular
Mm.
dudes at his funeral.
So yeah, it's
So he can't be
bullshit
that
then. They didn't
strong.
need a flatbed
No,
for that truck. They
no.
they wasted all that time and money on a fucking truck when Wonder Woman could have just hoisted it over her head and sprinted to wherever they needed to bring it. Like,
yeah, because apparently she's faster than a speeding bullet as well.
yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's absolutely stupid. That's my nitpicks for that scene. Those are just 2 big
Yeah,
ones that I
well,
had.
you just reminded me of one that from the very opening scene of the film And it's really a nitpick
Oh
from
yeah.
Batman versus Superman. But I was like, literally, I was sitting here in the first like 30 seconds of the film, just like talking to my television as Superman is like gearing up to fly at Doomsday with the kryptonite spear.
Hmm.
Practically shouting at my television, "Let Wonder Woman do it! Let Wonder Woman do it! Let
Yeah,
Wonder
she
Woman
probably
do it!"
would have had a.
She would have done way better job. It wouldn't have killed her. You know,
Hmm.
kryptonite's fucking nothing to her. Let Wonder Woman do
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She doesn't.
She was having a great time in that battle. She was doing really well. You know?
Yeah,
Why did he do it? Like that still doesn't make sense. Why he actually
because
had to
Superman had to
die.
die because death of Superman, black suit. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Oh.
Um. So let's the black suit. The
Yeah.
black suit
Yes.
that serves to do nothing
Yeah.
but
It's just a
remove
style
even more
choice.
color from these characters.
Yeah.
Because you know when they all stand up at the end and it's like the Justice League are here and four of them are gray and one of them's like very dark red.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, what a shining fucking beacon of hope these
Yeah,
people
that
are.
shot looked terrible as well, right? Where it's
Oh,
like panning
really
across
bad.
them.
Yeah.
It looked like none of them were in the
Yeah.
same space at all. Like
Yeah.
it was all filmed on different days while they were all in different countries.
Give Aquaman his gold and teal fucking suit.
Yeah, they do in Aquaman, but also in
Yeah.
Aquaman they
But
like
why is
don't.
it not in this? I get that this happens before Aquaman, but who cares? It just looks better. Like,
It
just
does
give it
look
to
better.
him now. It happened in Aquaman. We don't care. Just give him the better suit.
Yeah,
He looks terrible. His
and
suit's
he pulls
awful.
it off too somehow. I don't know how. It's
The
because he's
gold and teal, he
it's
looks
because he's so
fantastic in it.
ridiculously good looking. It'd be fucking hard
Yeah.
for a normal person to pull that shit off. You know,
The Aquaman suit looks like from the movie Aquaman looks so good. And that's the
it
thing. A
does
lot of these suits
surprisingly.
do look really good. The Superman suit, when it has color, looks great.
Yeah,
Except
yeah.
for it doesn't have the pants on the outside. Fuck you, Zack Snyder. You're a coward. I saw that interview where he's like, "Well, we thought it was a bit stupid to put his because that's how he talks because he's a dumbass." I'm sorry, we've talked so much about this now. I've realized that I actually hate Zack Snyder, and he's a dumb idiot. And yeah, he's like, "Well, we didn't think that putting the underpants on the outside would be a good idea." And no, it definitely would have. It would have looked better. Fuck you. Don't be a
Yeah,
coward.
yeah. Why not? Why not? Also,
Yeah.
I thought I really liked the fucking Batman costume, Ben Affleck's Batman costume. It's weird
Hmm.
and puffy. It's like weird and puffy. It looks like he's wearing one of those.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes in the wrong lighting, it seems like
Hmm.
there's. It seems like he's wearing. It seems like he's an already buff man who's wearing one of those padded children's Halloween costumes that has like the muscles
Yes.
built into it, and it's like that's too
So he's
much.
muscles on muscles.
Yeah, but at
He's
that point it just looks like roundness, you know? He's just
yeah,
mostly
he is
circles.
very the problem I had is in the later scenes when he's in the flash forward.
Oh yeah, to the future.
And I noticed that his mask has crow's feet. Why did they put those in there?
Yeah, that's a weird choice.
Like was he like, well, I'm an older Batman now and I need my suit
To reflect that.
to reflect that. So Alfred, start
So
carving
the
those crow's
so,
feet in
so the
there.
criminals know to go easy on them.
Give it a bit of a wrinkle there, just in case I'm like standing next to Commissioner Gordon and he's like, remember about that thing I was telling you, Batman? I'm like, nope. Like he needs to know that I'm getting a little bit
Yeah.
up in the
Oh,
age. Actually, that's another quick thing I want to talk about is
mm.
that J.K. Simmons is just great. Like,
He's great in everything, but also
yeah.
underutilized. But there is
Oh,
that
totally.
scene,
Yeah.
right? And it's one of those scenes that was clearly just made for the trailer, where they're like standing on the rooftop and they're all talking to Commissioner Gordon, and then he turns around, and it's just the Flash, and he's like, "Oh, it's like that's bad joke," where he's like, "Oh, everyone else, well, they all just disappear,
Hmm.
was rude,"
Yeah.
and then he runs off, right? Since when are Wonder Woman or Aquaman known to be like the disappearing into the darkness types? Aquaman
Where
in
did Aquaman
particular.
even disappear to?
Yeah, that's a big nitpick of mine for like all like the big action sequence in the end where Aquaman is just like flying through the air and like stabbing
Mm.
like these winged demons. I'm like, how did you
Yeah.
get so
Yeah.
proficient not just at like land battle, but sky battle? You're a fish man.
air is just like thinner water, though, when you think about it. So, like,
I guess
maybe
you're
he's.
right. I guess you're right.
I think it says a lot about this movie when Aquaman's, I don't know, dad or whoever is the king or whatever,
It's
is
his
like,
ma as a
hey,
king.
his ma is a king.
She's a queen. Sorry, she's the
Yeah.
queen of
But who's
Atlantis.
I know there's like a man's voice who's like, grab your trident. And Aquaman grabs his trident. And it's not a fucking trident.
No, it's got 5
It's not a
points.
fucking trident at all. It's a fork. It's got 5 prongs.
Grab your big
Get out of.
fork,
And you know what's
Aquaman.
even worse? It would look better if you took off the 2 side
It
prongs. It would
would.
look like a better
Yeah.
trident.
Oh my
And
god.
here's my other point, right? I sent this to you the other day.
Mm.
There's an interview with Zack Snyder where he calls this a 5-part trilogy.
Yes.
Does Zack Snyder not know the difference between 3 and 5? Is that what's going on here? Because that's
Oh
not
my
a trident,
god.
and this is not a trilogy.
And just
It's a quadride. It's a
quintology?
quintdent and
Quintant.
a quintilogy.
Man, just the gall to end this film on a cliffhanger. The absolute fucking balls to be like, yeah, this film's 4 hours long and it
It's
doesn't
4 hours
end.
long, and
It doesn't fucking end.
fuck you. It's not over yet.
No.
There's 4 more hours, you fucking idiot.
Oh my god.
And it's all bullshit.
Because as well, right? The next
It has
thing,
2 cliffhangers.
yeah,
It has 2. It has a modern day and then a future.
yeah,
Because
it
it's got
does.
Slade
It
showing
does.
up
Yeah,
with weird
yeah,
Ben
yeah,
Shapiro
yeah, right.
fucking
Yes, yeah.
uh,
He shows up.
Lex Luthor.
He shows up, and Lex Luthor's like, maybe we should make a league of our own. So it's like, oh, the fucking League of Doom, and then it's like,
The Injustice League.
cut to the other fucking epilogue scene, and it's like, oh wait, no, the League of Doom clearly didn't work out because now Deathstroke and Batman are hanging out in the apocalypse.
We'll cycle back to that end scene
Yeah.
at the
Oh
end,
yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right now, I want to talk about, because we've talked about pretty much all the Justice League at this point,
Mm.
except for Cyborg, the
Mm.
heart of the movie.
Oh yes.
As Zack Snyder has said
The
150
heart
times.
and the computer of the movie. The heartfelt
Yeah.
computer.
I like how he delivers all of his lines completely the same throughout the entire movie. It's a bold acting choice, and it's also a sign of good directing. He talks like this all the time.
All the time. There's a little bit of
All
bite
the
to
time.
it. All the time.
You can control anything.
Yeah.
All of his mind palace, like
Oh my god, yeah. It's just-
inside his
yeah,
brain
yeah,
computer bullshit.
yeah.
It's so bad.
Oh my
Oh.
God. Yeah. Yeah. It's terrible. Oh, it's terrible. He looks so bad, man. It's like
He looks
when
awful.
you're-
I've written, one of my notes is just where I gotta find it. Sorry, I'm fucking shuffling through about 17 papers here. NVIDIA RX 270 GT enabled cyborg, because he looks like the character on the front of a graphics card box. Like, he doesn't look like a character in
Yeah,
anything.
he doesn't look like a person. He looks
He's
ridiculous.
such a fucking sourpuss the whole
He's
movie,
so-
and I
yeah,
get
he really
like
is. He's such a
he's
downer.
got like a
And,
tragic
yeah,
backstory, but like
how tragic is it? Your dad didn't make it to your football games. You know when that scene plays where he's like playing football in the snow, and he's like everyone's screaming his name, and he looks into the bleachers, and his dad's seat is empty. His dad didn't make it again. All I could think
yeah,
of was that song, "Dark Side" by Tim Minchin, which is like
yeah.
he ends his sets with it. It's like fucking 10 minutes long, and it's about how he can have a dark side. And there's this whole section towards the end where he's just going, "Daddy never came to my ball games. Where were you, Daddy?" And that's all that was going through my head during those scenes. Was it's just the most cliche, oh, tragic backstory. You're the lead quarterback of a football team, and you died in a freak accident, and then your father, who you're like, he never came to my football games. Well, he brought you back to life. Like, oh,
He turned
whatever.
you into a
fucking-
superhuman.
yeah, you're a computer now. All right, you're the best computer in the world. Like, and you're alive
By far.
again. You were dead, now you're alive. your father brought you back to life. And you're like, but you weren't at my football games, though. Jesus
His
Christ.
dad has one of my favorite like moments in the movie.
Yeah.
There's this a bit where you remember when the janitor gets like attacked by a parademon, and they he comes to the lab after he gets attacked, and the guy is like, "This is what he drew." Recognize it, and he puts it up on the window, and it's like the picture that looks kind of like Batman or a parademon or whatever, and it like zooms in on it, and the music swells, and then it zooms in on him, and the music swells, and then he just shakes his head. He's like, "No, I have no idea who
I
that
have
is."
no idea.
It's so good. It's so funny. You're just like, no, no, I don't know who that is. That's
Well, while we're on people knowing who Batman is, right? That bit again, very clearly just designed for the trailers because it was in the first trailer where
mm.
Cyborg is like, "I heard about you, didn't think you were real." And he's talking to
Oh
Batman.
yeah,
Batman has been around 20 years, and you're probably
yeah.
about
Batman's
20 years old. You definitely know Batman's real. How many fucking
he has
pictures of
access to
Batman?
all the information in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
world.
exactly. He doesn't know
Like
that
he's
Batman
surely
is
got
real.
some files on Batman.
He could
Like,
probably fucking figure out who Batman is. Lex Luthor
yeah,
could
that
from
that line
prison.
should not have been. That line shouldn't have been. I heard about you. Didn't think you were real. He should have just said, "You're Bruce Wayne." I read it on my brain a nanosecond ago, and
Yeah. I looked through
it
your
took
mask with
me.
my big weird red eye.
I blinked and now I know everything about
Everything
you.
about
Like,
you. Sorry about your parents.
yeah. No, Martian Manhunter is sorry about.
No. Martian Manhunter, for some reason, knows that they'd be proud of him. And not only that, but Martian Manhunter also in the first scene where he appears and he talks to Lois Lane, he
Yeah,
like shows up
why?
as Martha Kent. He like morphs into Martha Kent to
Yeah,
show
that's
up,
fucking
right?
weird.
To show up and talk to Lois Lane and be like to deliver two nuggets of information. First of all, Lois, you gotta go back to the Daily Bugle. And second of all,
Mm.
Lois, I lost the farm. How much do you know about these people, Martian Manhunter? Why are you just
Yeah, and
keeping tabs on all of the women in Superman's life? It's
why
not
is
your
he doing this and
responsibility.
not helping with any of the like problems that are happening? Like, is this like a fetish thing? Is he just like, I'm gonna pretend to be people and not help? I'm not like I'm not a superhero. I'm just a pervert. Like,
Especially when when it ends, then and there's the epilogue where he shows up to Bruce and he
mm,
just shows up on his balcony and he's like, "What's up? I'm an alien. I'm gonna help out the next time
sorry,
there's trouble."
Dara. You mean the third epilogue?
Oh yeah, the third epilogue,
It's
right?
the third epilogue.
But he fucking shows up, right? And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna help out next time there's trouble." Um, and Batman's like, "All right, and why?" And he's like, "Oh, 'cause I figured out that I have a stake in this world too." Of course, you have a stake in
Hmm.
this world. You've already been a part of one world that caved in on itself. That like all
Yeah.
your people went extinct, and now you found another world and you're like, this one's about to end, but fuck it, I've got all these incredible powers, and the new earth that I've found, the new home I found, is being jeopardized. Fuck it. Do you think that habitable planets grow on trees, Martian Manhunter? You can't just keep hopping from planet to planet and being like, oh, that one's fucked, I gotta go find
Yeah.
another one.
But here's the thing, though, as well, is that like I don't think Darkseid is localized to Earth.
He's not, but he does have to seem to have a weird interest in it.
I feel like if he gets that, what's it called,
Anti-life
the
equation.
the anti-life if he gets that, I feel like that's bad for more than just Earth.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But
So like
also,
Martian Manhunter should be like, hey, there's some crazy shit
yeah,
happening in the universe
yeah.
right now, and it seems like it's localized to here. I'll do it. Not, oh well, it turns out maybe this Earth is more important than it seems, and it's like,
Yeah,
what fucking would is Darkseid not a problem for you guys as well?
yeah,
Like,
just for everybody, for everyone. Because even if
yeah,
even if Darkseid does destroy Earth, and you have to find a new place to live, a new planet to live on, Darkseid's going to destroy
mm,
that too. You know.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
think we should talk about the final scene, the
that
like
being
battle
the
scene,
battle scene.
because we haven't talked about that. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go. I'm
Yeah.
gonna pause real quick. I'm gonna take a
Okay.
break. I'm gonna.
Fire away.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about the final scene.
The
Not the final scene.
climactic
The
scene,
climactic
and I messaged
battle.
you while I was watching this bit because I watched this over the course of several days, as I mentioned up top. And oh my
Mm.
god, was it a fucking struggle! But I messaged you during this scene, and I said,
Yeah.
"Have you ever been like watching what feels like the climactic scene in a film, and you check the time, and there's an hour left?" Because I checked it, there was
Yes.
61 minutes left, and it was like
Yeah, I think
I was like a good 10 minutes into the final action set piece, and it's like, oh, this is still far from over. Like,
I read that message and I thought to myself, Dara, did you not? I watched this
I've
yesterday. You
watched it
know that.
already,
Like
you
I
know.
told you about it.
Oh my god.
It's it was around this point in the movie where I realized that the whole aspect ratio thing was bullshit.
Yeah, like the chopping and
Now,
changing.
no, it doesn't change. It just like the black bars on either side, the 4
Mm.
3, like an old episode of Always Sunny.
Right, right,
Um,
right, right.
Zack Snyder was like, "Hey, they got to do it in this aspect." And now, okay, just let me preface this with I am an aspect ratio like weirdo. I like weird aspect ratios. Think they're really fun. I actually did like it for quite a bit of this movie just
Right,
because it's a weird aspect ratio. I just enjoy 4:3. I think it
right.
looks great. Um, but Zack Snyder said that going into this that it was going to be like this because they shot it in IMAX and he didn't want any loss of information on the top and bottom of the frame.
Mm.
So he kept it at 4:3. But
Mm.
then throughout the entire movie, and I noticed this when we got to the end scene, he proceeds to do absolutely nothing
Yeah,
with
because
the
like
top and
yeah,
bottom of his
it's just
frame.
it's
Like
like
there's
what I
no
said. Like what I said. Once the characters stop being the focus of a shot, they don't exist anymore. So you have all this
mm,
space at the top of the bottom, but it's not like
yeah.
anything's happening in it. It's just more clouds and smoke and nothingness.
Yeah, that's my problem. It's like he filmed the shots as if they were the regular widescreen, but now there's just bits missing on the side.
Mm.
He doesn't do anything with the new aspect ratio that's interesting or
Mm.
like elevates the genre in any way.
Mm.
It's just boring shots of like that would it bothers me that he said that it was like this big thing that they wanted to keep it like keep that in for because it's so important.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's the same mindset that made this movie 4 hours long when it
yeah,
could have probably been shorter than the Whedon cut and
yeah,
wouldn't have lost anything of value.
yeah, yeah. Although I will say, as far as the action scenes go in particular, the last one was my favorite. It had some like genuine moments of being like, I quite like that. That was like a little. There's like little bits that were pretty
Hmm.
good. There's one bit in particular that jumps to mind where I think the Flash trips because he's always tripping because he's a fucking idiot, and then a bunch of parademons nearly kill him, and then Wonder Woman shows up and she like kills a bunch of parademons to save him,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then she turns around, and just as she turns around, a parademon is like mid jumping towards her, and he's like about to like land on her, and she doesn't really have time to react, although she probably does because she moves faster than a fucking speeding bullet. But
yeah,
then all of a sudden, he's like the parademon's taking up most of the shot, and then something just goes through his chest, and he gets pulled backwards. And when he's pulled backwards, you see Batman standing on top of like a big hill, and he's just after firing
yeah,
the grapple gun through it. I was just like, that's a cool little moment where it's like, oh, it actually makes sense that all of these people are here. They all are
yeah.
bringing something to the table, which is not something I felt was present at all in the Wiedner cut. You know?
That's but even in this, like those moments are so few and far between.
Yeah,
Like they don't feel
yeah,
like a league. They just feel like a bunch of different superpowered people doing
mm,
their own thing
yeah.
in one
And
area.
this
Like,
is something I never wrote down, but like the majority of what the Justice League do to me, or like or not do to me, But like, if you were to ask
Oh
me,
no.
it would
What
like,
did they do to you, Dara?
but when
Show me on the doll what the Justice League did
show
to
me
you.
on this Batman action figure with
Show me
karate
on this
chop
Batman
action.
action figure
Um,
where Superman broke your neck.
but they, um, what it would, if you ask me what the Justice League do in this film, the majority of it is them standing around like a screen, without Superman, before Superman, and even
Hmm.
for a bit after Superman comes back from the dead. The majority of what they do is just standing around a CGI screen or hologram and go, "I think we should do it this way." What? That's crazy. We should definitely do it this way. And then they go and do the thing, and it doesn't fucking go the way that they said it would at all. And it's like, well, why
Hmm.
did I have to watch them talk about something that didn't happen? You know? Why is there just so
I
much
had
standing around and
such
talking?
I was screaming at my TV during those scenes where they're standing around talking because it's just panning shot
Yes,
after panning
yes.
shot. Like I was getting dizzy because every single shot is like moving
They're
left to
moving.
right
Yeah.
around these
This
characters, and it's
dramatic
like
swell music,
Jesus.
like this like hum of an orchestra. It's like they're just having a
Yeah.
conversation.
Just give
Like,
us a minute, like just, give us a shot just like looking at them talk for a minute. Like
yeah. And then
let
they
the
like
actors do
yeah,
something.
and then they finish having their conversation. They finish discussing what they're gonna do, and they're like, okay, awesome. And then they all like turn away from the screen and start going like in separate directions in this like little room or like sometimes like a fucking
Yeah.
aircraft carrier. So like they're it's like then again because like I said like nothing there's no implication that these characters are ever doing anything when we're not looking at them. So when I like
Yeah.
try to imagine what happens in the immediate aftermath of that conversation that we don't see, I see them like all the members of the Justice League just like getting together, having a conversation, and then dispersing and going to like separate corners and like scrolling their phones. You know, why did they all have to gather over
Yeah.
there to talk? You're all like within earshot of each other. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean like that's the problem with Zack Snyder is his characters don't act like people.
Mm,
They act like vehicles for his shit writing.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
his not his shit writing, but his shitty dialogue.
yeah,
Um
yeah. But back
it's
to
bad,
yeah,
man.
the
It's
main
just
action scene. Is there anything else that really
not
jumped out
really.
at
I mean
you?
like they fight a bunch. I
They
kind of
fight a
tuned
bunch.
in and out.
They fight a bunch. Oh, fucking Superman's re-entry line is awful. It's terrible. And the effect where he re-enters is terrible as well. Because Cyborg is like
What's his
connected.
re-entry line? Do you remember?
Because if I'll see if I can remember in a second. Cyborg is connected to this big
Okay.
computer, and he's like, "Barry, I need you to run fast, Barry." For some reason, and Barry's like running laps outside, right? And then Steppenwolf is like behind Cyborg, and he's about to hit him with the big fucking axe. And then suddenly, Superman presumably like crashes in from the ceiling, and like takes the
Yeah.
blow, right? But like it happens in such a split second that it's like, how did he not make that shot? He had the axe in the air, you know, like he was about to come down on him. And I think,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, I'm nearly certain that his opening line when he comes back is "not impressed." It's just some
Oh
awful
yeah.
bullshit like that. But it's like, man,
Ugh.
you shouldn't have said anything. Should have just punched him. It would have been better than saying that, you know. Uh,
The dialogue in this is
it's
awful. It's
fucking
just really
terrible.
bad. There's a line where Superman or not Superman, Batman's driving the Batmobile
Mm.
and he's trying to get some parademons away and he says out loud to nobody, "Come on, follow me, you
You
damn
damn
insect."
insects. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
awful. Like
yeah,
just who talks like that?
yeah.
Zack
And
Snyder
and it's
does,
R-rated,
assumedly.
you know. Let him say fucking insects.
He
Like,
does say fuck once and he says shit another time. But I don't think Batman should say fuck though. That's just
mm,
me.
yeah,
It's
I can
like
see that. It's a bit weird.
recently in Star Trek Picard, a character says fuck, and it
Mm,
just immediately like got my hackles up. I was like, they shouldn't say fuck in the Star Trek universe. They have evolved beyond that. Like the people in the Star Trek universe are so upright and like good people, and everyone's great, and everyone's just furthering stuff. No one should say fuck.
yeah.
Like it doesn't fit.
Mm. Yeah.
Neither does bad Fox News analogies, but that's for a different fucking podcast.
Jesus.
Yeah, I when they all stand up on the thing at the end and stand around, they all look so dull.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. I'm just having a quick gander over my notes here. There's a thing. There's a shot where Superman. First of all, when he re-enters his like ship and he's walking through and he decides on the black suit for no fucking reason, right? He's like
Hmm.
walking through and it's like super slow and there's bits of dialogue being played from both of his dads, and it's just shit they've said in other movies.
Yeah.
And I fully skipped that part. I just like fast forwarded it. I was like, I've already heard this dialogue, and he's just walking down a
Yeah.
hallway. I don't need to hear all this shit again. You know?
But that's my problem with it is that it builds it up like he's finally becoming like the perfect hero
Yeah.
Superman. But then he's got the black suit, which I assume is like a like bad Superman
It's
thing.
not really, but in the comic book, in Death of Superman, when he comes back to life, he doesn't have his powers yet, and so the black
Hmm.
suit is like it picks up the sun rays stronger and like he like is like
Okay.
healing him quicker basically.
But that's not in this
It's
movie.
not in this movie. In this movie he's just like, you know what, it looked dope is if I
Yeah,
wore the
that's
fucking black
but
suit.
that's my problem though is that like it's like it builds it up as if like oh he's fine he's like
He's yeah,
fucking becoming the super Superman
yeah,
and he's like doing whatever but then he has the black suit and you're like is that supposed to be like
yeah.
he's a bad
Is
guy
he
but then
evil
no he's
now?
not he's a good
Is
guy
he
and then
immortal
at the
in
end when he
himself
shows up
that
and
he's
he's a
black
bad guy
like
he's wearing the colored suit like
yeah, 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 that was weird, right? Weird
it's,
choice. But
what is
the reason I brought this up to begin with is because he gets to the end, or like he finally he's wearing the fucking black suit, and right before he does that awful shot we mentioned earlier, where he's standing or like flying over the world in a Jesus pose,
yeah
he's like
hell
kneeling on the
yeah
ground, about to take off into the air, right? And
mm,
around his fist, dust starts swirling, right?
yeah
And that's like a recurring theme when Superman is about to in these movies when Superman's about to take off, the dust around his arm or his fist
yeah
starts like lifting into the air as gravity around him stops working properly or whatever, right? But
I think it's pressure I think it's like
something like that, right? But anyway, when that happened, it reminded me that the last shot of Batman versus Superman is the dust above his coffin starting to rise like that, which implies
oh
at the end of that movie that he's already starting to regenerate and then he will just come back to
oh
life naturally like he does in the Death of Superman.
well maybe
But no,
that's what yeah I don't
they
know
had to throw him in goop
like
and they had to
yeah
touch
put him in
a
the goo
box while a guy was conducting lightning. Like,
should have given him the mullet.
yeah, they should have given him the mullet. They really should have given him the mullet.
Henry Cavill would
He
have looked
would have looked great.
fantastic with that
And
mullet.
side note that also I didn't write down, but you just reminded me. They do not do Henry Cavill's hair any favors in these movies.
Mm-mm.
Whatever they're putting in it, it just looks so greasy and like stiff.
Yeah,
It's like that Brill Cream wet look gel, you know? And he's got a good head
yeah,
of hair. Why are you doing that to him?
yeah. It's. I would like to end this. I feel like we're actually we know we can't end it on the positive just yet.
Mm,
No, we'll hit them with the positive and then hit them with the super negative.
right.
Because I don't want to talk about the flash forward just yet.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sure we'll have a lot to say on
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure we will.
Uh, I think everyone in this Justice League movie and like actor wise and for the last few movies are all casted really well.
Mm.
I think Gal Gadot is a really good Wonder Woman. I think Jason Momoa is a really good
He's
Aquaman.
great. He's great.
Ezra Miller like could be a really
He
good
could be
Flash.
pretty good. He could be much better than this.
Ben Affleck is a great old Batman.
Yeah, Cyborg's pretty wooden.
Uh, Cyborg's pretty wooden, but I feel like if you gave him a bit more to do,
Mm.
maybe he could be quite good.
He had loads to do
Um,
in this. You know,
but he didn't though.
if you
All
gave
the
him a
directing
better
was like, all
director.
right, say the line as
Yeah,
flat as you can,
yeah,
because Zack Snyder's a fucking hack. Um, Superman, Henry Cavill, best looking Superman, without a doubt. Like looks the most like Superman of any actor
What
I've
a fucking
seen.
beefcake, man. Oh my god.
He's an
Oh
absolute
my
handsome
god.
devil. I
But just his body's
Yeah.
insane. It's
And he's got the big
insane.
hairy chest.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
he's like they keep the hairy chest. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. He's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Give him the mullet. He'd
He
look
really
so
oh
good with a
he'd
mullet.
fucking own the mullet, man. He really would. Yeah.
So yeah, and that's why my main point was I think these actors would all be really good in a Justice League movie.
Yeah.
Like if you
Yeah.
gave it to a director who actually like Zack Snyder does give a shit. I
Mm.
can't pretend that he doesn't give a
But I
shit.
think I
I
think
just think that he is not good at this.
yeah,
Like,
I think the problem is you're you're giving or at least as far as I can see, you're giving it to someone who likes comic books for the pictures, not
yeah,
necessarily for the characters or the stories. You know,
or who
he likes the
fundamentally
images.
misunderstands the
Yeah,
characters and stories.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just it's so frustrating
And look,
that
I
we
guess
like. Sorry, go
no,
ahead.
it's just I was gonna say I guess like this is his world and it's his vision, and at this point now, it's 3 movies in, and really it's 4 because that movie was like fucking. It may as well have been 2. If he had split it in 2 and I had come out in cinemas, I would have felt like I had been ripped off watching the first one. But
Mm,
um, so like at the end of the day, it's an established universe and it has a consistent tone. But those actors could do better with a more accurate source material. You know?
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I think those actors would be really good in a, and that's why I'm like, hey, keep Henry Cavill, but just give it to someone else.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they've
Now
done
they're
it with
doing Black
Harley
Superman.
Quinn.
You heard that?
Oh, Michael B. Jordan, Black. Yeah, I'm down with
I
that.
don't know if he's
Cool.
playing him. I think he's it's just producing it, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be.
Oh no, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, he's producing
Oh yeah, you're
Static
right.
Shock,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
very excited
yeah,
for.
yeah.
There's rumors that he is going to be Superman at some point, but
Mm. But
that might be out of date by now.
look, it's 3:30 in the morning, and I have to go to the dentist tomorrow. It's time we talk about the
Yes.
fucking Joker bit.
What people are calling the greatest back and forth
Oh
between
my
Batman and
god,
Joker
man,
of all time.
it's so bad. Are people really saying that?
I've seen people say that, yes,
Really?
online.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
upsetting.
bad. It's so fucking
It's-
bad. It's so bad. I can't believe that that's what he reshot. Oh my god. Jared Leto is terrible as the Joker. I was willing to
he's
give him the
awful.
benefit of the
He's
doubt after Suicide Squad because I was like, they cut a load of his stuff out, you know? So maybe, who
yeah.
knows? Maybe it was better than what we saw. But this is like
No.
unfiltered Jared Leto, and he's had the
Ah,
time.
ah.
It's such a bad laugh. But he's had the time away from it now, and he's had the time for people to like react to his portrayal and hear those
Well, he's
reactions and get offended by them. And now
probably
he's returning to the role, and this is what he gives us. This
well,
is
he's probably not checking Twitter because he's too busy with his weird cult.
yeah, but he
Like,
did he reacted to it at the time, being like, I get really annoyed that people don't like his Joker because he was like, but it's better if you see all the footage. But now looking at this, I'm like, no, you're not.
no,
It's
you
not
just suck.
good. Your Joker is bad, and it's a Jim Carrey impersonation. And I sent texted that to you at the time, but it's what
Yeah,
it
you said
is.
it to me the other day, and it like broke me because I was like, "Oh my god, this is
I
what
sent
was
Ryan a
already
text
ruined."
saying Jared Leto has been impersonating Jim Carrey this entire time, and I'm convinced of it. I am convinced of it.
It's
It's like how Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka was just Michael Jackson. Fucking Jared Leto's Joker is just Jim Carrey.
and I think it's important to talk about Batman in that scene. And I get like, oh, it's the future and it's a different dude and whatever because of how much shit has happened.
Mm.
But there's something that's so beautifully poetic about Zack Snyder talking about how like, you just don't get that. Like everyone says, oh, you're Batman shit. He just kills people. He's bad. And Zack Snyder's like, you just don't get it. This is a movie for adults and whatever. And his big Snyder cut, one of the last lines Batman has is, and believe me, I will fucking kill you.
Yeah. And with that as well, it's almost like he's trying to justify why Batman hasn't killed him like he has countless goons. Because he's like, because I promised Harley Quinn that when I do kill you, I'll do it slow. But you know what? Because he's like, when Harley Quinn was dying in my arms. First of all, why were you holding Harley Quinn when she died? That's fucking
Mm,
that's a whole story in itself, right? But
yeah.
also, like, you made her that promise on your deathbed. You started killing people way before she died. You had
Mm,
definitely had ample opportunity to kill the Joker between the point that you started killing people and Harley Quinn asking you to kill him slowly. Why didn't you just shoot him with one of your many guns? Why is the Joker
yeah.
still alive? He's got no physical match for you whatsoever. And he's just
But
talking
Dara,
to him. Ah,
Dara, who's gonna give him a reach around?
I was gonna give him a fucking reach around. Oh my god. Oh my god.
That line hurt. That
Yeah,
line physically.
yeah.
I saw that on Twitter like a couple of days before I watched
Yeah,
it
it's so
and just wrote it off as like a joke. I thought someone had like because it was like one of those
memed
pictures where
it.
it's like four pictures and they put the subtitles, and I
Yeah.
thought it was a joke. And when it popped up in the movie, I slumped over in my chair. I was like, "There's nothing I can even react. Like there's nothing I can do here." It broke my brain.
Because when the Joker usually makes jokes, they're like super dark, but they're like
Hmm.
at least clever or situational.
Yeah.
Like it's based off of what's happening. It's just like, oh, but if you kill me, how am I gonna wank you off? Like,
Hmm.
who is this guy? This sex
Sorry,
obsessed madman? And why
I think
hasn't
you're
Batman
getting
killed him
away
yet?
from what a reach around is here, Dara. This is important. It's not just who's going to wank you off, it's who's going to wank you off while eating your ass.
Yeah.
And you know what? To be fair, I think that's what they've been doing because did you see his makeup? That was not red around his mouth, that was
Pretty fucked
brown.
up. It's pretty fucked up. Yeah. And who else is there? Fucking Mira gives like this awful
Oh, she's
monologue.
still around.
Yeah, she's
She
yeah,
should have died.
yeah. Oh man, if it was the apocalypse and I only had like 5 superpowered people left on my team and one of them was Mira, I'd convince the other four or the other three to all gang up on her with me, just so we
Yeah.
wouldn't have to have her around. I bet she'd be useful too. Fucking walking through the desert, have a woman who can control water. Fuck her. I'd fucking kill her and bury her in that
I
shit.
I think it's unfair as well for them to bring up Harley Quinn, seeing as she's maybe the only character who has escaped this. Like, you fucking that character clawed its way out of this, and like is in a somewhat good movie and what looks to be a good movie in the future.
Yeah,
Like it's
Jesus.
fuck you, Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Leave that character alone. Just I'm glad that this doesn't seem to be like getting a sequel. That's good.
It better not, man.
It will,
Better not.
because I paid for it. So like,
I
I
did.
bought Now TV for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it was just on Sky, which was just so
Um.
crazy.
Well, that's I don't have access to Sky really if I want to watch like
Yeah,
stuff on my own time
I
here.
usually don't.
So
That's the
I
thing. So I have to wait until my grandparents go to bed, and then I'm like sitting here at like midnight or later
hmm,
trying to fucking watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. I've just been at work all day. I'm like, this is
yeah.
terrible. This is an awful
Oh,
time.
I split it between 2 days, and I like that was tough.
It took me like
Like
four.
I only had to go back to it once, and it was bad enough. I can't imagine having to go back to it 4 times. Awful, like terrible movie,
Yeah,
really bad.
yeah, yeah. One of
I
the
don't see
worst.
why people are saying that this is even good. I don't understand.
Yeah,
But I mean, like, if you liked it, that's good for you.
yeah. Good
Like,
for you. Good for you. But don't
good for you.
like.
You ate that entire plate of shit and didn't grimace once.
Oh my god, man. Like surely even the people like the diehard believers, you know, would have to admit that you could trim a lot of fucking fat off of that steak, off this juicy
No,
steak of a
I don't think you come
Justice
up
League film.
in like with a lot of the really hardcore Zack Snyder fans online.
I don't. I try to
They're
avoid them.
they seem mostly localized to Twitter, and they are
Yes, I'm not on
insane.
Twitter.
Like,
Yeah, man.
and if any Zack Snyder fan has a problem with me saying that, come to my house. My address. No.
Oh,
um.
I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
glad
glad
it's
it's
over. I'm
done.
looking forward to the future of the DC movies. I think actually there's quite a bright showing ahead. That
Yeah,
Suicide Squad looks very good.
yeah, it
The
does.
Batman looks very good.
Yeah,
I know you
hopefully.
have your problems with the Batman, and
Yeah.
I'm saying, Dara, if there was ever a Batman to be excited for, this is it.
Honestly, I'm more excited at this point because they keep talking about the Flash film now. Apparently, that's happening. That's been a million
I
years in
don't
the
want that to
works.
happen.
I see. I don't know because, like I said, it's been a million years in the works, and they kept firing directors, and it became like a running joke on the Weekly Planet that they just kept losing directors, or they would like walk
Oh
away.
yeah, yeah, a running joke
Yeah, yeah, no,
because
just
the
something
Flash.
actually happened. Oh, there you go. But but
Yeah.
then but that kind of leads me to believe that maybe, just maybe, it'll actually be all right because they're pushing through. They're being like, no, we believe in this and we want to make it. We just need to find the right person. So maybe. And Ben Affleck
Ooh,
is
I think you're
coming
being
back for it.
optimistic,
I
but
am
like,
being
you
optimistic.
know,
But Ben Affleck is coming back for it, so it's probably going to be something
Michael Keaton,
Flashpointy.
maybe.
Yeah, I heard that as well. It sounds just interesting compared to
Yeah.
just Batman, but he's young again. I've seen Batman young. I've seen a lot
Well,
of young Batman.
I'm interested in the different like standalone things they're going to be they're doing because they did the Joker.
Mm,
A lot of people have a lot of thoughts about the Joker, and that's fine.
mm,
I thought it was cool that they did something that wasn't just like, ah, we're setting up for this sequel. We're setting up, this is a prequel to this thing.
yeah,
Like it was just its own thing. And I think a lot of DC's like best comics are just their own
yeah,
standalone thing.
yeah.
So why not just
It's stuff like
embrace
that.
that?
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to
Because
try and
Marvel
copy
is
that
very much,
Marvel
I
thing.
find, like, I feel like Marvel is more the long,
Oh yeah, the long form
like,
storytelling. Yeah,
yeah, like
absolutely.
issue to
Yeah,
issue thing. Whereas DC does do the issue to issue thing, but it changes every like couple of years because they reset the universe or whatever, and
yeah.
it's a whole thing. But they're like standalone graphic novels, and it's
Mhm.
really where that universe stands out, or like they're standalone stories and things.
Yeah,
I think are really where that universe stands out.
yeah. Also, just real quick before we stop
Mm.
talking about this, because we need to, right?
Yeah, we'll finish up
Yeah.
now. This is we're done talking about the movie
that
now. That
first
was
that first post credit scene, or epilogue part or whatever you want to fucking call it. I mentioned
mm,
this briefly earlier, but Lex Luthor has just figured out who Batman is while in prison somehow, or while in Arkham, right? And he shares
mm,
this information with Deathstroke. It is the most inconsequential reveal because we immediately cut from that to a post-apocalyptic future where once again
where
Deathstroke and Batman are just on the same team now.
yeah,
So whatever deal they him and Lex Luthor are working on, that's not gonna fucking work out, right? And
yeah, he's not gonna
also,
kill Batman.
but also everyone knows, like when Batman approaches Joker and he's like sitting on the thing or whatever the fuck,
Mm,
Joker calls him Batman first, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
that at least that's cool because the Joker wouldn't call him by his name even if he did know it. But then he immediately starts calling him Bruce, and I was like,
Why he says, "Let's make a truce, Bruce."
yeah, yeah,
Ugh.
and it's like, well, like, what? You can't do the people know who Batman is reveal twice in a row in two different scenes. You're gonna tease like, oh, Batman's identity. You know what? That entire fucking fishing village knows who he is. I bet that's how Luther
Mm,
found out. You know,
yeah,
I don't care about Batman's secret identity. You can't try and drop that in as like a bombshell. Like, oh no, everyone knows. Well, uh, it doesn't seem like he cares in this film. So
yeah.
why should I? You know,
Well, look, according to Zack Snyder, if you care about that, you're a nerd. So, um, all right. Well,
that's got to
yeah,
be it,
Zack
right?
Snyder cut bad, really bad,
Yeah, bad time.
bad, 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 bad. Actors are good except for
Yeah,
their acting.
but this
Um,
podcast pretty good, I think. Good crack.
yeah, whatever this is, I
Yeah,
think it's pretty good.
yeah. It was a bit of crack. Nice to talk to you as always, and
Yeah,
yeah, hopefully something immediate will just jump out at us to get together and
yeah.
chat
I
about
think as
again.
well. I like the idea of just being able to do whatever you want, or like if someone has anything they want us to talk about,
Yeah, we'll do
be
that.
it a movie. I mean, preferably a movie. A TV show might be a bit too long.
Yeah, but
I mean, we'll do the
also be
pilot, I
ready for
suppose.
us to like nitpick it to fuck. If you really
Yeah,
love it, don't suggest it.
yeah, like a movie or like just hit us up on wherever. There'll be a link in the bottom. I mean, just fucking comments wherever this is.
Where are we
We'll
even gonna
see.
put this?
Man, I don't know. We've started this very late in the evening
Yeah,
and very late in the evening,
very
like
early
late
in the
early
morning.
in the morning, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
And, I don't really know what it is yet, but I another episode in a week's time, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
I think this is going to go out on like Saturday probably,
All right.
and we
Okay.
have a few I have a few weeks off, so
Nice.
we'll
Yeah, we'll
try
try
and
and
do every
post a
Saturday.
couple out with
Yeah,
something or other.
if
Yeah.
you listened this far in, fair play,
If you
because a lot
listen
of
to
that
this
was
far in,
rambling.
hi Barry.
A
I think you
lot of
mean
that was rambling about a
a movie
movie
you
for.
probably didn't see, or at least hopefully didn't see, for your sakes.
Hopefully, yeah, don't watch it. If you got this far, just don't watch it. Don't do it. It's bad. Yeah, I've been Brian, and
I've been
he's been
Dara.
Dara. That's been Dara. There he is.
I've been vaping.
Um, yeah, he has been vaping. I've been drinking. So I mean, we've all got our vices. All right, that's gonna do it. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for watching, and goodbye.
Peace.